Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for Finding Carter, Season 1, Episode 9, the Do the Right Thing, and this episode was, again, amazing. I love this episode, by far best episode of the season. I mean, every episode of the show just gets better and better and better. It's one of those shows where it gets better and better and better, literally every single episode, and this episode was amazing. I love where the show is going. I really do. I love where the show is going. I think they're just taking a very interesting direction, and I can't wait to see what happens next on the show, because every single episode just gets better and better and better, and let's just get this episode, because it was fantastic. So, of course, in the last episode, Carter found out that horrible news from David, that, David, lied to Elizabeth about, David lied to Carter about seeing Lori, and, Carter's locked in her room, and Elizabeth is trying to get her to let her in, and, she's not answering, so Taylor asks what's going on. She's obviously doesn't know what's going on either, and Elizabeth tells her to go back to bed. So they head in through Taylor's room, and they see that Carter's turned the music up, and she's gone. So she's gone, and Grant wakes up, comes in, asks what's going on, and Taylor says, Carter. That's all she says. She just says simply, Carter. And so, yeah. So Elizabeth luckily does find Carter. She tracks her down to this diner. She asks why she's so upset at David, and she tells her that her dad lied to her about talking to Lori, and that he had set up a meeting where they waited for 3 hours, and she says her dad knew they were waiting on something that wouldn't happen, obviously, and Elizabeth is just shocked about this, because she didn't think David is cruel, and the thing is, David, yes, he is very cruel. She doesn't know that, she doesn't realize that her husband basically forced, his daughter to get him to write the book. She doesn't realize that, and, Carter says that she agreed to let him write the book, and Elizabeth says he's not a liar, but he does hide things, and Elizabeth holds out her hands, and Carter takes them. She promises Carter that she'll get an explanation for what happened, and she has to drive a police car and says it would cheer her up, so she's very determined to find out what's going on here. So then at school, Gabe says his dad is a mess, obviously, because Kyle is not really going through a good time right now, because, Elizabeth just broke things off with him. She quit her job, and he knows why. He misses her, and again, I really feel the show is trying to get us to root for the two of them together, definitely. I really feel they want us to like them together. I like them together, I do. I think they're good together, and I definitely like them together. They have a lot of chemistry, in my opinion, and I really like them together. But basically, Ophi then shows up, and I really like this that in this episode, we actually got a lot with Ophi. Ophi has pretty much been a comedic character for this show, and this was really the first time we actually got some stuff with Ophi, which I really like. He has a black eye and tells him it's the cost of doing business, and he says he's low on cash, and he asks where Bird is, and she's talking to this guy, Ramon, and he calls her over and says he needs his bank to cover some of his debts, and she covers him when he's short, because basically Bird is his bank, and she says it's a bad time, and she says her folks are back in town and are hassling her about money. So Ophi says the guy is going to break his elbows or kneecaps, and Carter and Gabe tell him to go to the cops, but Ophi reminds him that he's running an illegal gambling operation, so obviously going to the cops, that's just going to get him in more trouble than he wants to be, and obviously he does not want to be in any sort of trouble, so we then see Taylor, and Taylor looks like she's about to go out to, Taylor just looks, Ophi comments her, she looks like she's about to go out to something very fancy occasion, and Taylor asks for her car keys. She's ditching school, and Carter wants to know why, and Carter can see the look in her eye. And, basically, she can tell that Taylor and Max are going to have sex. She says Max is a great guy, and she's losing her virginity perfectly, and she hugs her and sends her off, and Carter tells her she smells good and looks good, and Taylor says next time she'll see her, she'll be totally changed, and she takes off. So, that was a cute scene, definitely. I like that scene. So, David then comes in to find Elizabeth cooking, and she says they're looking there for the bake sale at school, and she asks how it went from the editor, and he says he had a lot of notes, and Elizabeth asks to read it, and he says soon, and she asks why he took Carter to see, and of course, then she asks him the big question. She really does not know what to think of Dave right now. She wants to know why he did this, and she says right away, why did you take Carter to see Lori? And he says it was an awful thing, and, it was an awful thing to do. And he says he wanted her to feel that the decision to stay with them was right. So he says it's okay as long as she doesn't know, and she tells him that Carter does know, and she explains that she just explained the phone call with Lori, and he says he has to find Carter, and obviously, he's pretty upset about this. I like seeing that David, he actually did care about this, definitely. He cared that she, he really wanted to be there for her, because he felt he screwed up, definitely. I mean, the last episode, they made us think David's going to be like this big villain and everything, and this episode, he really wasn't like that. David seemed to be a lot more reserved in this episode. He seemed to like, they want us to show us that he's actually not going to be a villain, and he actually is a nice guy. He finds Carter at school, and he has to talk to her. Elizabeth opens his bag, and Carter says she just wants the truth, no matter what it is. So Elizabeth pulls out the book, and basically, Carter asks if he was punishing her for not letting him write the book, and he says he was just trying to give her closure, and he says his intentions were good. Carter wanted that closure with Lori, and he was trying to give it to her, but it did not work at all. So Elizabeth opens the box, and she sees that the book is done, and the cover art's even done. So that's really weird. So basically, she says she was going to tell David, and she changed her mind about the book, but asked him to just hold off for a while. So basically, he says they can start when she's ready. Elizabeth's flipping through the manuscript and sees that it's completely written. So basically, David, as we know, has already been writing the book. We know that. We know he's already been writing the book. We know that. And basically, he just did that so that way he could publish it. That's the only reason why he did it. So everything I just said about David, just fuck him. Obviously, Elizabeth is really pissed right now, and she has a right to be, because, I mean, her husband's not honest with her. She was honest, here's the thing. She was honest with him about her with the affair and everything. She was honest with him, and she doesn't know why he can't be honest with her. She doesn't know why. And, I mean, I definitely felt sympathy for Elizabeth in that scene. I definitely did, because it's like, she just told him last week that she cheated on him. She told him straight out, and he did not tell her anything about this. He's been lying to her so much, and she's really pissed at this. So, basically, Taylor and Max, we then see them kissing, and he asks if she's sure she wants to do this, and we see it's a very funny, awkward scene, very realistic, too. I mean, I wouldn't know, but, I mean, I wouldn't know, because obviously I don't have a girlfriend, I haven't had sex yet, things like that, so, but it's a very awkward, funny scene, definitely. He tells her she can change her mind at any time, and he even, she even says she wants a lamp, and, she wants a lamp, so he literally goes out to get a lamp for her, and it was so funny, and I just thought that was just a hilarious scene. I love that Max really did whatever he could to be there for her, he really just wanted to be the best boyfriend he could. Max is really just such a great character. I love the way he's written, but that scene in particular was hilarious in my opinion. I love the way that was done. I love that Max really did anything for her, and that was just such a funny scene. I really enjoyed that a lot. So basically, David then comes home, picks up his backpack, he can tell the book is gone, punches the stack of cookies that says bake sale, do not touch, and Elizabeth is not there at this point, because she was pretty pissed. So then we see Crash, and Crash is telling Ophi to tell him who beat him up, but Ophi says it was his mistake for taking bets that were too large, and Crash asks Carter if he beats people up, and he doesn't really seem to answer. So then we see Max is back with the lamp, and they're kissing again. And it just isn't really the right time for them. The timing was bad and everything. He's even saying, look, I'm terrible for leaving. I just bought you a lamp. He's realizing he was an idiot for that. And, they say they can do it another time. And he seems to like that. Max seems to be okay with that. And I just love how Max really he did what she wanted, really. He just did what she wanted. He didn't care how he wanted. It's what she wanted that really mattered. And I just love that. So call out goodbye, and that was just such a sweet scene. So Bird then hands Ophi this necklace, and she says she took it from her mom's jewelry closet. She tells him to pawn it, and Crash says he can pawn it, but Carter tells him not to do it. He asks if she's worried, and he likes that, and Bird says it's not like it's stolen, and Ophi tells Crash he loves him, and Bird says hello, and he tells her he loves her too. So definitely Ophi is in a very tough position right now because he has this necklace. It's very illegal what he's doing, and yeah, so that was definitely a very good scene. So Grant then sees the bashed cookies, and wipes the crumbs off the counter, throws the container of cookies into the trash, and he heads out. And Taylor is then in the room when Carter comes in to talk and asks how it went. Now, Carter can tell right away that it didn't work out. She can tell that right away just from the way that Taylor's expressions were. She can just tell that, oh, this did not work out. And, Carter says he really, really likes her, and Taylor says she really, really likes him too, and just to give him another chance, basically. That's what she wants her to do. So Elizabeth comes in, knocks on the door of David's office, sets the book down on his desk, and tells him good luck trying to talk his way out of that one. And he's glaring. So they sit at, and it's a very intense scene here. They sit opposite ends of the table later, and he says he'll talk to Carter later, and she says they can talk to Carter together. And he walks away very resigned, and she then knocks on Carter's door and tells her it's time to get up. She asks for more time, and Elizabeth tells her she's not going to school today. And she asks why, and she says that they need to talk over breakfast. They need to talk about this, about what's going on. So Carter looks through the book her dad has written, and she looks up at him and says, "You'd already written it?" And the whole speech about fatherly truth-telling was just a lie. The whole thing there was just a lie about how, Elizabeth said how, David's never a liar. That's all bullshit now. And David, is saying yes. She asked what the red marks are. He says the editor made those marks. She asked Elizabeth if she's read it, and she says she did it yesterday. And Carter asked David if he would just pretend to talk it through with her and show her chapters he'd already written and edited. And he said he hadn't thought it through, but he says he really needed the book, and he says he wouldn't have published it without her permission. So he wouldn't have done without her permission, but obviously she is really she's really pissed at him at this point, and I don't blame her. I really don't blame her for being pissed at him in that scene. She's crying. She doesn't know. She doesn't believe him, and it's just so sad, definitely. And then Bird reads the book, and they are shocked at the things David has written about all of them. And Ovi is thrilled at the game results because now he doesn't know the guy, so everything's okay there. And Bird tells Carter to call Crash, but he gets voicemail, and Bird's intercom rings, and her mom says she needs her in the house. And Bird gets another ping and goes. So Taylor's then dancing in her room, and Max comes in. Now, she says it's bad. She's in her bathrobe. She has no makeup on. And she says she's glad he's there, and he says he likes her like this, and she has to change the music. He says no. She says she needs to brush her teeth and says it's not perfect. And he really he's trying to tell her it doesn't need to be perfect. He says he really likes her, and she then kisses him, tells him that they're, she tells him that's 5, there's 1 more to go. And, then we cut to them. I'm assuming they had sex there, and then we hear the intercom ring, and the voice asks for Carter, and she goes up to the main house as requested, and, you hear Carter Stevens, come to the door immediately, and that's really weird, obviously. She doesn't know what's going on, and there are police in the house all of a sudden, and she asks for the necklace she has of hers, and then says she has a bracelet of hers, and Carter says that Bird gave it to her, and Bird says she didn't, and, Bird's denying it all, and Kyle is there, and he arrests Carter for grand larceny. And at this point, I'm like, seriously, who can we trust on this show? I mean, we can't trust David. We now can't trust Bird. We can't trust Ophi, sort of, we can trust. We can't trust Crash. I mean, seriously, we can't trust Lori. Who can we trust on this show? Elizabeth and Taylor. Elizabeth, Taylor, and Max, and Grant. Those are really the only people we can trust on this show. Those are really the only people we can trust, and honestly, I like that they're trying to get us, to people's true colors are coming out, especially because we're very close to the end of the season. There's only 3 episodes left. Basically, then at the bake sale, we see Grant lies and tells his mom his cookies sold out very fast, and someone asks if this is her phone, and then says she needs to silence it during school events since she should be able to donate a couple of hours of time. And she then tells Liz that her daughter is in jail, and Elizabeth gets a text and Grant tells her to go, races out, and it's Kyle leaving her messages about Carter. So David comes in, asks why he can't stay out of his family business. And Kyle says Carter doesn't have a lot of friends there, and he's been accused of stealing, and has been accused of stealing $100 grand of jewelry. He tells him she was wearing $200,000 bracelet, when she was arrested. And he tells him to get a good criminal lawyer, and Elizabeth shows up and tells David that she doesn't trust him with her because he may be looking for material for his book. And, she doesn't trust him, basically, because now she's thinking that anything that's going to happen, he's going to put in that book. That's what she's thinking. She's thinking, any single thing that's going to happen is going to go into that book, and she does not want anything to do with David right now. So Elizabeth says she believes Carter, and David says maybe she was stealing to have money for her runaway trip with Lori, and Kyle tells them Bird is ready to testify against her, and it's bad. Bird tells Ophi she can't tell her parents she lied because they're looking for any excuse to dump her, because, you know, Bird's parents go away randomly, and she's used to it, so she doesn't want them to go away, she wants them to stay. And I like that, again, we start to see more of, you know, Bird's life. I like that. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but would anyone else like a Bird-centric episode? I really would. I'd like to see a Bird single-centric episode where we actually see Bird's life. I'd like that. I'd like to see that because I think that'd be cool. Bird is a very interesting character and one of my favorites. I mean, Max is my favorite character on the show by far, but Bird is one of the best characters on this show. You never know what she's going to do. She's a very good friend to Carter, but she has a lot of family problems. It's just very interesting to follow her journey, in my opinion. I think her journey is very cool, and I really love that about her character. So Ophi says Carter will be in jail unless she steps up, and Crash comes in and asks what's up, and he says he's got 20 grand for the necklace, and Bird says he has to give back the necklace, and then her mom will drop the charges. He says to get her to drop the charges first, then he'll get the necklace back. And she says it's a fine time for him to develop morals, and Ophi says she's forgotten hers. And Elizabeth then comes in. Carter asks if they can go, and she asks if Crash put her up to it, but Carter says it's about her. And she's asking what could happen to her, and Elizabeth says they need a criminal attorney for this. They need to have some sort of criminal attorney. And she says they have to wait until they set her bail. And Carter tells her that Bird took the necklace and said her mom would never miss it. I was glad that Carter told her the truth here. And she says between her and her husband, she might be better off in jail. And that's the truth, really. If you think about it, Elizabeth and David, really, they need some time alone. I don't know about them. They really, in my opinion, they really need some time alone. They really need some time alone together. I mean, they were good together, and they're just, like, on this downward spiral, and I really feel the end of the season is going to be the two of them getting a divorce. I really feel that's what's going to happen here. So Elizabeth and David, they go to talk to Taylor, but then when she opens the door, she sees her and Max having sex, and she slams it and says they can talk. She's like, oh, sorry, bad time, we'll talk about this later. I thought that was really funny. And Max, in the meantime, he's leaving. He apologized to Elizabeth, and he tells Taylor 6 realies and goes. And, 6 realies, I like that, I like that little, thing. I thought that was cute, definitely. And he goes, and Elizabeth tells Taylor that she didn't realize the two of them were so close. So, basically, they had sex. And they tell Taylor that Carter is in jail stealing from Bird. And Taylor tells her to go talk to Bird and says she'll crack. She says, and I like what Taylor says here, because this is definitely true. I understand why Taylor said this. Basically, Taylor says that Bird is jealous of Carter and has been, and that Carter would never steal from her. And if you think about it, that really is the truth. I mean, Bird has really been jealous of Carter, definitely. Definitely Bird's been very jealous of Carter. Especially the fact that, Carter, has this very good family, very good home, very good lifestyle. Yet Bird, she's always dumped on her ass all the time by her parents, basically. And she just doesn't have as good as a life as her, so she's kind of jealous of Carter, and I agree with what Taylor said, that part of the reason Carter and Bird are really good friends is because Bird is jealous of her, and Bird just comes up with, that's just Bird's excuse to come to her house and crash, because, she can come there, and it's a good lifestyle for her, I definitely like what Taylor said there, because that is basically the truth. So Bird and her mom show up with a cop, and I'm glad that Bird decided to confess here. She says she did a terrible thing, hopes they can forgive her, and she says her daughter stole the necklace, blamed it on Carter. I really like that we got to see her mother. It seemed like her mother, I didn't see many problems with her mother. It seemed like her mother just doesn't like Bird, and I think it's part of the reason, I think her mother just, I don't really know. Her mother didn't seem to have any sort of problem or anything, so I really hope we see more of Bird's personal life, because I really like to see that. So, David says he was wrong, and Elizabeth says she's going to pick up Carter. Now, David, of course, said that Carter was the reason for doing this. Honestly, David I hate him now. I really hate him. And Bird's mom says she's dropped all charges, and Kyle tells Elizabeth that Carter is gone. She's gone. She left jail, and she's gone. She asks where she is, and he says Crash came by and posted bail for her. And he says it was about an hour ago. Now, Elizabeth is furious at him because she just got her back, and now she's gone. And she says she's gone, and we see Carter and Crash driving away. he hands her the book that and says she left it at Bird's. You know, this is David's book. And he asks if it's any good. And she says she didn't care for it. And I was very surprised what happened here. Opens the window, throws the book out the window. She lets it fly out page after page. And the book is gone. So that was really big, definitely. I thought this was just a really great episode. Absolutely loved this episode. And it looks like next week someone's gonna die, apparently. Apparently someone's gonna die. It looked like they showed a promo of, like, somebody dying. Now, it's gonna be definitely Crash that causes this, but I'm trying to figure out who is gonna die. David, possibly. David, I don't like his character right now. David is... Everyone pretty much hates David right now. Taylor hates him. Elizabeth hates him. Carter hates him. If David doesn't die, I really hope it's not Bird. I really love Bird as a character. I'd love to see more of her personal life. But I really hope she doesn't die. Ophi dies. I don't care that much. Gabe dies. I mean, I like Gabe, but I don't care so much. If they kill off Max or Taylor, though, I'm going to be really pissed. If they kill off Grant, I'll be upset. Elizabeth, they are not going to kill off. She's like the second main character of the show. And Carter, they're obviously not going to kill off. So I really don't know who's going to die there. But this episode, I have a lot to talk about, definitely. Now let's talk about David. Honestly, David should I hate David now, I really do. He is so deceitful to his family. The way he just lied to everyone, and everyone believed him. I mean, Elizabeth believed him all this time. Carter believed him all this time. The way he was just lying to them, and he wrote this book all along is just, I love that they found out about it. I love the way they found out about it. The way it was done was so well done, in my opinion. It was like, they did not expect it at all. I love the way that was done. And I love that Carter threw the book out the window. I mean, she just doesn't give a shit about her dad. She doesn't give a shit about David. She wants nothing to do with him. No one really cares about David now. No one does. And I will really like that, definitely. I really like the way that's going. Also, Crash and Carter. This is not going to be good. Crash is not the best person for Carter at all. Elizabeth is there for Carter. I think Carter left with Crash because she just does not want to see David right now. She wants nothing to do with David. It has nothing to do with Elizabeth. She is actually getting along very well with Elizabeth. I like seeing her and Elizabeth getting along very well. I like seeing her and Taylor get along very well. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Now, Carter and Crash, it's not going to go well. Something is going to happen to them. I don't know if Crash is going to die. He might. I don't know. Maybe he won't kill someone. Maybe Crash will actually die. That would actually be an interesting twist if Crash died. The other thing I love about this episode was we got more into Bird's life. We got more into Ophi's life. And I like learning that Bird and Ophi, Bird's kind of working... Ophi's kind of working for Bird. I thought that was definitely very interesting when we found that out. I was not expecting that at all. Would you guys like to see more of Bird's personal life? I really would. I think that'd be cool to see. I just thought about it. I mean, I think it'd be a cool thing to see if we saw more of Bird's personal life. I personally would want to see that. I don't know if you guys would, but I personally would really like to see that. I think that'd be really cool, in my opinion, definitely. I'd love to see more of Bird's personal life. I think that'd be very cool. The other thing I really loved about this episode was Max and Taylor. I mean, they were just adorable in this episode. I know I sound gay or whatever, but seriously, they were just adorable together. I love them as a couple. I really do. You just root for them so much. They always have great stuff in this episode. The really thing was adorable. I loved that. Thought that was great in the episode. Max and Taylor they're the power couple of this show. I've said before, they're the power couple of this show. They're fantastic, and I'm always going to love them on this show. They're always just so cute together, and I love them on this show. I really do. The other thing is Grant and the cookies. Is Grant going to tell his mom the truth about what David actually did, where he, smashed the cookies? I don't know what's going to happen there. Again, I really feel we're heading to David and Elizabeth getting a divorce. I really feel we're headed there. I don't know about you guys, but I really feel we're headed there. I really hope that does happen, because honestly, if that happens, David deserves it. He really does. He did to himself. He deserves it. And I really feel we're headed there. I feel the two of them are going to get divorced. Think about it. They have been on this downward spiral for episodes now. First, it was Elizabeth cheating on him with Kyle, which I feel she's doing again. I feel like her and Kyle, something's going to happen with them. Now it's David lying to Elizabeth. And, of course, there is still that paycheck that David never got. And we haven't seen Toby in a while, so... He's either going to divorce her or she's going to. I really feel Elizabeth's going to. She does not seem to trust him at all right now. She wants nothing to do with him. And I honestly don't know what David's going to do next. I mean, when he finds out Carter got rid of that book, he's going to be furious. He's going to be pissed at Carter, obviously. He wanted his fucking daughter in jail. He thought that she did something. He literally thought that she did something, and that pissed me off when he thought that. He really did. I was surprised that he reacted the way he did, definitely. I was not expecting that at all. That was definitely very big, and just like... Come on, David, do you really think your daughter would do that sort of thing? I don't think she would. I never thought Carter would do something like that. She wouldn't. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. Is there anything else to talk about? I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to talk about? Lori. Okay. There is one good advantage to Carter and Crash going together. There's one good advantage. Crash, of course, wanted to give Carter that information on Lori. Is he going to take her to see Lori, or are they running away together? Now, of course, Crash told Carter that when she was going to leave with Lori that he wanted to run away with her. So is that what's going on here? I don't really know if they're going to run away together or what they're actually going to do here. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do here. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, I thought this was a fantastic episode. By far, best episode of the season. Loved it. What do you guys think? Where do you think Crash and Carter are headed? I'm interested in finding out where they're headed, definitely. I think it's going to be very interesting. Are they headed to see Lori? Or are they going to run away together? I really don't know what's going to happen there. Who's going to die? Someone's going to die next week. Because we saw, we saw someone dying. We saw, like, blood all over Carter. It's going to be extreme. It looks like it's going to be really graphic, actually. I like that this show gets darker and darker every episode. How is David going to react to Carter, like, throwing out his book? I think he's going to be pissed about it. Is Grant going to tell the truth about what David did with the cookies? You know, he just, like, crumpled them up and, you know, Grant threw them away because of that. You know, do you think he's going to tell Elizabeth the truth? Are we headed towards an Elizabeth and David divorce? I really feel they're going to get one. Again, do you guys think they're trying to get us to root for Elizabeth and Kyle? I really feel they are. Even though they're not on good terms right now, I can definitely think that, you know, in a couple episodes, that's going to resolve. They're going to get back together. I feel like they want us to root for them. I don't know why. I feel like they just want us to root for them. There's something about them that makes me feel they want us to root for them. Max and Taylor, again, adorable. Love them in this episode. Thought they were great. But that's basically for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. And I will see you guys, yeah, let me know what you guys saw this episode. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tomorrow's episode of The Bridge. So I'll see you guys either for The Bridge or for another classic, I'm screwing things up, guys, or for another movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.